So today I shall be discussing on access networks, which is one of the type of optical networks. Access network is an element of a public telecommunication network that connects the access nodes to either individual user or MAN, that is metro area networks. Therefore, you can say that it can be considered as the last link in the network between the customer premises and the first point of connection to the network infrastructure. Access network based on hybrid fiber coaxial, that is HFC, are a combination of two technologies employing both optical fiber and coaxial cable as the media. Originally, HFC was a cable TV, CATV concept to provide TV broadcasting and reception in rural area. So this is the figure of a generic hybrid fiber coaxial cable TV network, which consists of a hub from where the signal is transmitted through the optical fiber 5 to 50 kilometers and then connected to the residential user. 500 to 200 houses are served. The optical nodes employ here an optoelectronic transceiver to connect the optical fiber and coaxial cable infrastructure. In these networks, the RF amplifiers are used to trunk and link amplifiers to amplify signal power on the coaxial cables to enable a large number of customer premises to be reached. Here the customer premises consist of about 50 to 200 homes are served. So the digital subscriber line DSL provides broadband access over usually existing twisted pair copper telephone line. It utilizes a discrete multitone modulation format which employs a large number of 4 kHz spaced orthogonal subcarriers in the twisted copper pair bandwidth. Although this approach offers per user bandwidth from 1.5 to 75 megabits per second, reaching maximum distance of up to 50 kilometers, access networks employing an optical fiber from the local exchange to user, however, can potentially support a growing and large per unit bandwidth from 10 megabits per second to 2.5 gigabits per second. So this is the optical fiber access network I have shown here, which consists of optical fiber access network is divided into generally into two sections. There is a feeder section and the distribution section. Here you can see the local exchange to the remote node RN is a feeder section. From the remote node to the network interface unit, it is a distributor section. The section of the network between the local exchange and the remote node is a feeder section, as I told you, whereas the other section between the remote node and the network interface unit is the distribution network. The network interface unit enables communication between devices that use different protocols by providing a common transmission protocol. To facilitate this situation, an NIO may, however, require conversion of a specific device protocol to the common one and vice versa. A single remote node, that's a RN, can serve several NIU located either in a building or outside at street curb line, serving a number of customers. Three different approaches are shown depending upon the distance between end user and the local exchange office. An optical network unit, that's ONU, is used to terminate the fiber connection. The location of ONU and the distance from a local exchange and a NIU determines the specific configuration of the fiber access networks. For example, it is known as fiber to the channel FTT cable, and the FTTC, that is a fiber to the curb, when ONUs are located in a cabinet situated in main street or near to the curb. Hence, ONU is placed within a major building. The fiber access network is referred to as fiber to the building, FTTB. So this is a figure of it. So the PON, current PON, that is a PON, passive optical network based access network, can be classified into three categories. That is, first one is the asynchronous transfer mode PON, passive optical network, APON, or it is also known as broadband passive optical network, that is BPON. Second type is the Ethernet PON and Giga Ethernet PON, that is a GEPON. Third type is a Gigabit PON, that's a GPON. First we shall study the first type, that's asynchronous transfer mode passive optical network, APON, or the broadband passive optical network. So this is a figure of it. Figure shows an APON with a 1x32 optical splitter at the remote node location, covering an overall maximum distance of 20 kilometers. APON, which utilizes asynchronous transfer mode over the passive optical network PON strategy, has evolved into network that facilitate voice data communication, which combine the capacity for supporting multiple services at asynchronous transfer mode bit rate with the transparent transmission feature of the PON, and therefore referred to as broadband PON, that's a BPON. Passive optical network utilizes separate wavelength channels in the regions of 1.5 to 1.3 micrometer to carry transmission from OLT to ONU, that's a downstream, and from ONU to OLT upstream respectively. Although the data rates used in APON are equivalent to that used in SDH bar as or SONET, APON cannot readily carry the IP or Ethernet data packets, which are required to be broken up and reassembled at the user terminal. This can be accomplished, however, using Ethernet PON technology. This is the second type of access network, EPON. I just told you why EPON is required. EPON technology, in EPON technology, each packet contains information of the destination. Therefore, all the packets arrive in the sequential order, enabling a complete message to be constructed. So this is for downstream broadcasting, which consists of OLT. Packets are sent from OLT to the splitter. From the splitter it enters into ONU. From there it gets separated. So this is the EPON upstream multiplexing, which consists of OLT and the MUX and the ONU. So the packets are coming from ONU. From the MUX it is going to the OLT, that's upstream. So the figure 1 what I showed you depicts a downstream transmission for EPON, where the data is broadcasted from the OLT to multiple ONU in various length packet to the 3 ONU as shown. At the splitter, the traffic is coupled to 3 separate fibers, each carrying all the same traffic. When the data reaches ONU, it accepts the packets that are intended for it and discards the remaining packets. The upstream traffic in EPON, as I showed you in the figure here, as shown in the figure 2, is managed by employing a TDM approach. The specific transmission time slots are dedicated to each ONU in order to interface with each other once the data is coupled onto the common fiber. Ethernet PON can be implemented using either 3 wavelength signal, one each for downstream and upstream transmission, where the third wavelength region provides for the RF or for WDM transmission. The third type of PON, that's a passive optical network access network, is the Giga PON, is a high capacity PON development which is designed to facilitate IP packet transmission rather than just ATM or Ethernet packet. So this is a figure of Giga PON. The figure shows a Giga PON. It has a similar configuration to EPON, comprising of OLT, ONE and optical splitter with a maximum split ratio of 1:128. Due to the fiber dispersion, however, 1:64 split ratio is regarded to be most appropriate for longer network span, with the maximum specified transmission distance between ONU and OLT normally being 20 kilometers. GPON, that's a Giga Passive Optical Network, can also support single fiber bidirectional transmission with transmission rate of 2.4 gigabits per second for both up and downstream transmission. GPON can carry both ATM and Ethernet as well as IP packets. Therefore, it allows different traffic mixes to be accommodated as shown in the figure below. Here you can see the combined transmission of ATM, IP and Ethernet is a GPON encapsulated method. So GPON has been designed for optimal efficiency in terms of bandwidth utilization, maintenance, scalability, support of multiple services. Since asynchronous transfer mode passive optical networks ATM PON are not cost effective and many service providers are now discarding the ATM layer, the ATM PON layer. Instead, they are preferring GPON to carry IP and Ethernet frames.